Welcome back, everybody, to Altcoin Daily, where, of course, we bring you daily videos on everything going on in the world today involving Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. The top story of the day: the White House has expressed support for making immediate cash payments to Americans as part of the pandemic stimulus package. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin says we're looking at sending checks to Americans immediately.
When you say a stimulus package for American workers, do you mean direct payments to Americans, or are you talking about a payroll tax holiday?
Although the president likes the idea of the payroll tax holiday, I will tell you what we've heard from many people, and the president has said we can consider this. The payroll tax holiday would get people money over the next 6 to 8 months. We're looking at sending checks to Americans immediately. And what we've heard from hardworking Americans, many companies have now shut down, whether it's bars or restaurants. Americans need cash now, and the president wants to get cash now. And I mean now, in the next 2 weeks.
How much?
It's nice to see other people than just the banks getting bailed out. I want to remind you what happened last time.
Mark, can you hear me?
Mark, you there?
Mark.
Paulson and Bernanke just left the White House. There's going to be a bailout.
Well, they had to. Right? I mean, paper markets would have
They
collapsed.
knew.
Cash would have stopped coming out of ATMs. They had to backstop this.
They knew the taxpayers would bail them out. They weren't being stupid. They just didn't care.
Yeah, because they're fucking crooks. But
At least we're going to see some of them go to jail. Right? I mean, they're going to have to break up the banks.
I mean, the party's over.
I don't know. I have a feeling that in a few years, people are going to be doing what they always do when the economy tanks. They will be blaming immigrants and poor people.
So this time, it's not just the banks. It's not just the banks getting the bailout. It's the people. But it's also the countries. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund, has just announced that they're willing and able to lend $1 trillion to countries who are a member of the IMF. So the money printing is just insane, and I'm glad the people are getting some of that, but you know, this is more relevant today than ever. This graffiti art in Paris, rest in peace banking system, and it shows Bitcoin blooming while fiat money is dying. More relevant today than ever. Almost 400 people have liked this. Almost 150 people have retweeted this. Head on over to our Twitter if you want to like and retweet this. This picture, is worth 1,000 words. Let's get to some other recent news. The last sentence of this article, very revealing. So speaking of the U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, he has just appointed an ex-Coinbase executive member to oversee the entire banking system. You don't believe it? Check this out. U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, longtime cryptocurrency and Bitcoin skeptic, has named Brian Brooks as one of the country's top banking regulators. Brooks will serve as the next chief operating officer and first deputy comptroller of the Office of the Comptroller of Currency, the OCC. This is after stepping down from his role as the chief legal officer at Coinbase, which is the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the United States. So what exactly is this ex-Coinbase employee going to do for Steve Mnuchin? Well, the OCC, which was established in 1863, is the primary regulator of banks and federal savings associations in the U.S. It issues rules, it issues regulations that govern the banks it supervises, and takes supervisory actions against banks that fail to comply or otherwise engage in risky practices. So this Coinbase employee is going to oversee the whole banking system. Brooks' appointment to oversee the country's banking system may signal, this is not, I don't agree with this. Brooks' appointment to oversee the country's banking system may signal a changing tide at the U.S. Treasury, given Mnuchin's anti-crypto rhetoric and remarks made last year that he sees no need for the U.S. to launch a digital currency. Brooks is an outspoken, and this is key, Brooks is an outspoken proponent of making the United States a leader in digital currencies, specifically by launching a US digital dollar. So anybody who says this is going to make the government pro-Bitcoin, that's BS. They're going to use this pandemic to implement all these new things, Patriot Act style, for our protection. They're going to issue, a government cryptocurrency that is permissioned, that is not scarce, that is totally controlled by them, and they're going to do it in the guise of helping people through this pandemic. And speaking about banks in general, I just want to share with you a couple details on this. Bitcoin basher Wells Fargo shuts down some of its branches. That's the story. 2020 is shaping up to be pretty dire for most of us, but will it be cryptocurrency companies or bankers that get hit the hardest in this uncertain economic climate? Well, just 4 days after the President of the United States, Trump, declares a national state of emergency in the U.S., Wells Fargo announced the closure of 2 of its North Carolina branches. People need cash now more than ever, and we're seeing banks close. The mounting economic pressures, a looming global recession, and panic sparked by the pandemic spurs customers into withdrawing their cash savings. U.S. banks are faced with a very real threat of an impending bank run. Perhaps, I love this last sentence, perhaps when the banks are empty and people can't access their savings, the reality will hit. You don't need a third party to transact in crypto, and the real criminals are the ones printing the money, not mining it. I love it. And actually, let's jump to a couple of stories ahead. Speaking about third party, speaking about you knowing that you don't need a third party to transact in cryptocurrency, speaking about that, Bakkt touts new payment integration with Starbucks. The most recent update to this is that some users of the Starbucks mobile app are being presented with Bakkt Cash as a payment option. Check this out. This move seemingly coincides with the Bitcoin derivatives provider Bakkt's long-awaited focus on consumer-facing services and the announcement earlier today of a whopping $300 million funding round. Bakkt's parent firm, the Intercontinental Exchange, first revealed Starbucks was looking at retail applications for crypto payments in August of 2018. However, Starbucks says the Bakkt Cash option is only in limited beta for now. So, if you use the Starbucks app, see if you can sign up for this beta if you want to check out Bakkt Cash. One of the things that I like about this story is hearing from Starbucks about their thoughts on the Bakkt partnership and their thoughts on cryptocurrencies. For instance, we are currently conducting a limited test for our customers using the Bakkt payment method. This is according to a Starbucks spokesperson. Customers can see Bakkt as an option, but the test is only available at this time. In a statement, Starbucks confirmed it remains a strategic launch partner for Bakkt's dollar-denominated digital wallet. They say and this is what I like, this is what Starbucks says. They say, we anticipate that a range of cryptocurrencies will gain traction with customers, and through our work with Bakkt, we will be uniquely positioned to constantly consider and offer customers new and unique ways to pay seamlessly. So obviously, you as a knowledgeable person in the cryptocurrency space can see the holes in this whole thing. But what's good is, Starbucks, people pay with the Starbucks app all the time. The fact that they're going to integrate cryptocurrencies, even if it's in a permissioned way, still net positive. But, say what you want. Really, this really has no effect on anything. Google searches for Bitcoin worldwide rose 80 to 90% in the last week, even in this extraordinary leap down. So a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Right now, Bitcoin's price is just below $5,400. That is it for me today. My name is Aaron. This is Altcoin Daily. We are on lockdown here in Los Angeles. I mean, not really a lockdown. We just can't go to any bars. Almost all the restaurants are shut down or for takeout only. We're really just here staying in our isolated areas. Hey, stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow.
I have a feeling that in a few years, people are going to be doing what they always do when the economy tanks. They will be blaming immigrants and poor people.
But Mark was wrong. In the years that followed, hundreds of bankers and rating agencies executives went to jail. The SEC was completely overhauled, and Congress had no choice but to break up the big banks and regulate the mortgage and derivatives industries. Just kidding. Banks took the money the American people gave them and they used it to pay themselves huge bonuses and lobby the Congress to kill big reform. And then they blamed immigrants and poor people. And this time, even teachers.